final example in our optimization here is going to be one of Sadie here, who owns a bakery and is looking to improve her business. She's wanting to advertise on local radio stations, but wants to maximize the number of listeners. All right, maximize number of listeners. So that'll be in our target equation there. Okay, so I'm going to put that target equation. It's going to be all about the number of listeners. So here, Sadie has a budget of $2,400 to spend on her advertising. It costs $60 for every ad on the AM station, which is going to reach 24,500 listeners, and $160 for each FM ad, which is going to reach 68,000 listeners. Sadie wants to have between 20 and 25 commercials played. How many commercials should she play on each station to maximize the number of listeners? Okay, so what we need to do is figure out how many she can do based on her budget. Well, our target is all about listeners, so I'm going to do it as L, and the number of listeners is going to be based on the number of commercials that she runs, and so let's put that as our X is going to be the number of AM spots used, and Y is going to be the number of FM spots used. Okay, so what this means is that L, we're trying to figure out listeners. For every time that she has an AM spot, she's going to reach 24,500 listeners. So 24,500 times X, plus every time she has an FM one, it's going to be 68,000. 68,000 Y. That's going to be our target equation. So based on the number of AM spots and the number of FM spots, it's going to give us the total number of listeners that she has. All right. Now, number of restrictions. Well, we have a whole bunch there. Our domain and range. Again, X is a part of all whole numbers because we can only have a whole number of commercials. And range, Y is a part of all whole numbers as well. Okay, so positives, negatives, zeros, positives and zeros, but no decimals, so no negatives. All right, let's come up with our inequalities. Now, some of this is going to be a little bit tricky, and we're going to have to look at what we're all going through. So the first things first is the total cost. She has $2,400 to spend. Okay, so she has $2,400 to spend. That's the maximum that she can do. Okay, and it's going to be based on how many ads she has. So $60 for every AM one, so 60X, and $160 for every FM one, so 160Y. So 60X plus 160Y is going to give us our total cost, and $2,400 is our maximum cost. So this is total cost of our spots. Now we have a couple other ones there. We know that she wants to have between 20 and 25 commercials played. Now we're going to have to use two different ones for this, but we know that X plus Y has to be greater than or equal to 20. So it has to be bigger than 20, but it also has to be less than or equal to 25. So it's between 20 and 25. So that was two different ones we have to put in there. And so that's how we're going to do that. And that will be FM that we have. Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be all of them that we have. And so we're going to put this in and we're going to try to figure out what our maxims are. We also know that Y has to be greater than or equal to 0 and X has to be greater than or equal to 0 as well. And so we can put that all in. All right. Now we bring in Desmos. All right. So in Desmos, we're going to create a new graph. And there we go. All right. So here's our graph. And we're going to type in our equations here. 2400 is greater than or equal to 60x plus 160y. We know that x plus y has to be greater than or equal to 20. X plus y has to be less than or equal to 25. And x has to be greater than or equal to 0. And y has to be greater than or equal to 0. All right, let's zoom out here. Okay, well, we're going to have a tight little window where this is all going to work. This part right here is where all of them are meeting up. That one and that one there. All right, these four, this is our tight little window where all of them are meeting up. Okay, so in between here is our 20 to 25. Okay, this is going to be this big piece here with the slanted line that you see right here. This is going to represent our less than $2,400. Okay, so I mean, we could have 0 in there as well, but we wanted to have at least 20, so that's going to be there. And so this is going to try to figure out, can we maximize our listeners based on these values. Okay, so let's put our numbers. I'm just going to put them onto the page, and let's see here. So we have 8, 12. There is 16, 9. There is 20, 0, and there is 25, 0. Those are our our 4 points. And now we can pretty much guarantee it's going to be one of these two, but I'm not gonna say 100% for sure. All right, let's bring this back down, move the computer out of the way, and let's try to maximize number of listeners based on the spots which satisfy our scenario. All right, using our target equation, which you had up here, right there. So listeners is equal to, we try to fit this all on here, 24,500 times 8 plus 68,000 times 12, and this is going to give us 24,500 times 8 plus 68,000 times 12. This is going to give us 1.0 listeners. Okay, just over 1 million listeners. 1,012,000 listeners. Okay, let's do that again here. L is equal to 24,500 times 16 plus 68,000 times 9. And so number of listeners there, 24,500 times 16 plus 68,000 times 9 is 1,004,000 listeners. Okay. And then we know that this one's definitely bigger than this one because this is only 20 commercials. This is 25 of the AM. So I'm going to actually just scrap that one. Don't really need that one. And this one, 24,000 times 25. Sorry, 24,500 plus 68,000 times 0. And again, trying to squeeze that in there. 24,500 times 25 is only going to be 612,500 listeners. And for this one here, if you're curious, 20 times 24,500 is going to be 490,000 listeners. All right, how are we going to maximize that potential? Well, we're going to do this one right here. Okay, to maximize listeners, Sadie should play 8 spots on the AM channel and 12 spots on the FM station. And that's how she's going to maximize it, because that was going to give her her maximum number of listeners. This one's going to be close. These ones are way off. This is going to be close. This is going to be the maximum number of listeners for Sadie, and would be the one that she should really be using for her business to grow, because it gives her more listeners.